Hello, everybody, and welcome back to Brewing with Jim.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Good election day.
Yeah.
It's good to be with you.
Exactly.
It is.
The day this comes out is election day. No pressure.
Not for me.
No. Yeah, this is a show, first of all, before we talk about what we're talking about. This is a show where we take questions from our audience. We try to provide wisdom, insight, and hopefully other things too. I'm not quite sure, but
Or else we just sit here and bloviate.
yeah, sometimes
There'll
we do
be
that
words.
too. That's the second segment.
You're
usually.
a good word user, Joe.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah, okay.
I love using words just in general.
Well, it's best when you talk.
Exactly.
Yeah, to like that.
So we take questions from our audience. And so this question came from an audience member, perhaps with today in mind, on election day.
I don't know. Maybe sure.
The question goes really well with the question we answered on our last episode, too. If you remember recording this, should pastors ever get political from the pulpit? So we thought we'd kind of package these together with election day, not only coming up, but when this episode airs, it's actually here.
Right.
People are going to the polls as they might be listening to
We
this,
hope.
right?
Yeah.
Here's the question for the week. How should Christians faithfully engage in politics? This sounds like a more general question than last week, even though there's some through lines.
It is. That requires a lot of, it seems the answer would require a lot of organization on my part, which I have not done. So help me, Joe.
Oh, don't worry about it.
With this.
Yeah, I'm here.
It depends on what the questioner means when he says faithfully engage. Faithfully means regularly. And to keep all the segments of the schedule going.
That's a good point, yeah.
But I like the word because it means that we are engaged in the politics in an ongoing way. And the answer is yes. Mm-hmm. We should be engaged in politics. Now, does that mean federal government? Does it mean state government, municipal government, or just the homeowners association?
Sure.
Yeah, I refuse to be involved with the homeowners association. I met a guy at a neighborhood party not too long ago. I'm off topic already, and I found out he's on the board of our HOA. Yeah, and he wanted my opinion about some of the things. My opinion is we should get rid of the HOA altogether.
Sure.
And what do we need it for? And now to expand upon that, one of the things that we need to decide if we're going to be engaged in government is what do we think government should do? Yeah. How much? Well, let me say it this way: we need to define our values within ourselves, so we know what we're going to be voting for.
There you go.
We live in a representative republic, a democracy. But it isn't the people really governed. We elect people to govern
representatives.
For us.
Yeah, that's where that comes in.
All over the place. Now, the definition of your values is really your morals. And what do you think the government's role should be in deciding how to enforce our values or agree with our values? Or do they disagree with our values? And the answer is yes, sometimes they do. I would say, first of all, regularly engage, vote. Yeah. Vote. I always vote. I have voted every election since I was old enough to vote. Yep. Back during the American Revolution. And I
participated in every election that we've ever had.
Every election, yes. Arthur, Hayes, all of them. Yeah. No, I seriously, it's important to vote. Yes. Now, when we vote for President of the United States, and that would be today that we're doing that.
That's right.
And some people, don't they vote early and you can mail
Absolutely.
it in? We've changed the way we do this. But nevertheless, we need to make some decision about what the values are of the candidate. We have two candidates for... Well, no, we have two major candidates for president. We have several others that are running, and we can vote for anybody we want to because it's a write-in.
That's right.
All right.
I voted for you, actually, personally.
So did I.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
I'm glad your campaign is gaining steam.
Well, as my campaign manager, you would know more than I know. We need to decide, do we want this person and those values in the government? Now, what if they conflict with my values? Mm-hmm. Now we need to decide, is the person that we're voting for in office who is representing us the kind of personality that we want to represent the United States and represent us? And that isn't a swing for me. I consider it, but content is more important than style. But I'm not sure that's true in diplomacy and foreign affairs.
Right.
Style might be very important.
Yeah.
So
Definitely.
I have to make some decision.
Yeah.
Now, if I decide not to vote for either one of the major candidates who are running, I will make sure I vote, and there are people out there who agree with me and I admire, and I will write in a name.
Sure.
But faithfully engage in government, vote, absolutely.
Yeah.
Now, some people will say, well, if you vote for this candidate, then it's just like throwing your vote away, and you are really giving a vote to another candidate. I don't play that political game.
Yeah.
I am responsible to my Lord for who I vote for.
Yeah.
And that's how I make a decision. I'm an ambassador for Christ. So that I think is important.
Yeah.
Then you have to decide, or one should decide, in my opinion, what is the role of government in our life? All right, without getting too deep into the philosophy of government and what they do, make some decision, voter, on how you want the government to be involved. We're talking mostly about voting.
Yes.
Okay. You have to know where you are.
Definitely.
We don't vote efficiently or wisely based upon the physical appearance of somebody.
That's
right. We don't vote based, you part your hair on this side, and then we don't vote out of fear. There is a fear that if we vote this person into government, then democracy is over with.
Sure.
And we're finished.
Mm-hmm.
There is a fear that, that person will take care of the solidarity of the government of the United States, and the other person is just a rebel, and it will turn everything upside down, and then our country is over with. That's not true.
Yeah.
We have a Lord who oversees us.
I think that's the most important answer to this question.
Okay.
It isn't so much an engagement, like voting is a very literal verb that a person does or doesn't do.
Right.
But this perspective that you've just identified of the sovereignty of our Lord above all of the machinations of any government, of any kingdom, of any politician, that being the truth and that being recognized by a citizen or a voter, I think is central to engagement in politics. I think has to be the most important foundation for a Christian engagement in politics.
I agree.
Yeah.
However, However, there have been times when, in the wisdom of God, He has decided not to step in where many of us thought He should. Think of the Holocaust. Mm-hmm. Think of any kind of regime in government that is detrimental to the people and boosts just the ego and power of the dictator.
Sure. Totally.
You see, that is an issue. That's not an issue in the United States. One of the finest thoughts that has ever been created is the United States Constitution. Mm-hmm. And we have 3 branches of government. Mm-hmm. Now, you may have a candidate who says, I'm going to lower taxes. Presidents don't lower taxes. That requires a change of law, and that's the legislature.
That's right.
So I believe that this country is on a firm foundation with the U.S. Constitution. And this country was founded on Christian principles by primarily Christian people. And God does know what he's doing, and he is our provider. We need, instead of looking at the government, and I'm thinking about the individual Christian who's listening to this and wants to know, what do I do and how much do I do? We think of the government sometimes as our provider. The government is not our provider.
Sure.
God is our provider.
Yeah,
and
absolutely.
he will give us all of our needs, and so forth.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Yeah.
That idea of how do I view the government and how do I view God, God should prevail.
Yeah.
And then we vote correctly, and that's our involvement in government.
I love that framework.
Now, is there something else besides voting that we can do? Absolutely.
Sure,
Run for
totally.
office.
Yeah.
Run for office and get into a position somewhere and make godly decisions.
There we go.
Godly decisions,
I love it.
in my mind, are decisions that are based upon God's values.
Yeah.
He is the standard for our morality, not the culture, not what is currently trendy.
Yes.
He is the standard.
Absolutely.
So there's an involvement,
Yeah.
an engagement, if you will,
Totally.
of citizens and Christians.
Sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
We're to live our life
Yes.
in Christ.
Absolutely.
And when we live our life in Christ, we are clear,
Yeah.
more clear in our mind on how the world should work. The world should work as God has set it up.
Yes.
However, the world is broken.
Yes.
It is. Everything's broken. Can it be fixed? Yes, it can be fixed. Eventually, it's going to be renewed, and we'll have a new earth.
Yeah.
And God is going to do that. But right now, we're not living in the new earth. We're living with a government, and the government is by and for the people.
Yes.
And we are the people, and yes, we're to be engaged. I would say, in
Absolutely.
addition to that,
Absolutely.
contact your representatives.
Yep.
I have done that. I do that. You're going to get on their mailing list if you do that.
Of course.
But,
Yeah, I'm on a lot of mailing lists.
Yes. They will remember you in every way, especially asking for money.
Yes.
But contact your representatives and let your voice be heard.
Definitely.
And
Yeah. Faithful and strong Christians never harm any area or sphere of influence. And the addition of faithful and strong Christians to any area, in my opinion, is always a good thing, right? Politics is not immune to that.
Right.
Politics benefits from having faithful and strong Christians be part of it. To use a little bit of jargon, we're getting into a very reformed epistemology when we talk about it this way. Yeah. This is what I grew up with. This is how I was raised, and it's resonating in my heart right now. We were taught that there is no job, there's almost no job that a Christian can't have, because a Christian engineer or a Christian doctor or a Christian teacher, a Christian politician, whatever, brings necessary quality and, call it shalom or stewardship, whatever, to that role in a way that is unique and in a way that is beneficial. So Christian engagement in politics, for me, even fundamentally going back to the original question, means engaging it all and bringing the light of Christ into this realm of our world.
Yes.
A mass Christian disengagement from politics leaves politics to the wolves, so to speak.
It does, to the world,
yes.
to the secular element.
Totally.
It absolutely does.
Yeah. And so engagement in the first place, maybe this even comes before voting, but engagement at its essence is, I think, faithful to being a Christian.
Christian living is noticeable. It's noticeable by people who do not know about Christian living.
That's right.
And Christian living is not just a set of ethics or a behavior list of do's and don'ts. Christian living is being in Christ. And when we are in Christ, that's a term peppered through Ephesians and really the whole Bible.
Absolutely.
We have the love of God, and all of the laws are
Yeah.
summed up in love God and love your neighbor.
Yes.
And when we do that, when we manifest that love in a way that is pure and biblical and in God's will and with His power, people notice that.
That's right.
And when they notice that, they are curious about it most of the time.
Yeah.
And want to know more about why is it you're okay, you're at peace when the rest of us are in turmoil about this.
Yeah.
Because we don't depend upon the government to endorse my self-perception.
Absolutely.
Or we don't depend upon the government to provide my food and to provide my support.
That's
and
right,
so forth. We depend on somebody else, and that I believe is the church's role.
Absolutely.
The church's role for outreach is nice if you go to a school and paint their fence, but there's much more to it than that.
Yeah. Here's a funny small question I think that we could wrap up this segment with. I'm thinking of what political engagement can look like on some of the smallest, most entry-level, scales. And I'm curious if you've ever been a person with a yard sign or a bumper sticker for a political
If I
candidate.
personally have,
Yeah.
I don't do that.
Me neither.
I don't.
Yeah.
I don't like bumper sticker evangelism.
Yeah.
When I evangelize, and evangelizing is not something I put on my calendar and I'm going to do for 1 hour.
Yeah.
Evangelizing is a way of life.
It's your breath.
I want to be with somebody.
Yes.
I want to be able to react to their questions, stated or unstated. I can tell by their facial expressions. All that is a bumper sticker leaves that empty.
Yes.
So no, I do not put up yard signs.
Yeah.
And
I'm uncomfortable with stuff like that, and I'll tell you why. It feels, with no other context, a person sees that in my yard or on my car. I'll put it this way. Let me start here. I've never encountered in my life or voted for a perfect candidate, a candidate with whom I've had no qualms or disagreements.
Well, of course.
Right?
The government is staffed by sinners.
Of course.
Yes.
Absolutely. But even on policy decisions, even on opinions of
I see what you mean. I agree. I've
Yeah.
never found somebody who 100% agrees with me.
Absolutely. So I don't want to, because people will see a bumper sticker or see a yard sign and identify this person is voting for this person, and they might get the wrong idea of why I would be voting for that person.
Oh, they don't have any idea. They just make up one.
Exactly.
They infer.
Yeah.
That,
And so I don't like the assumption on me that a person might think, oh, I'm voting for this person. That means Joseph wants this or wants this policy or whatever. I want to avoid all of those assumptions. Anyway, as this is a fascinating.
And there's also you see the yard sign, and I don't agree with the way he supports this candidate. I don't like this candidate. Therefore, we're not going to be friends.
Is it like a
we're
stain?
going to separate from him?
Yeah.
And that's not the way to promulgate my opinions about government, and it's certainly not the way to evangelize.
Yeah, that is absolutely true.
People are loved into the kingdom primarily, I am convinced.
Absolutely.
And you have to be with somebody for that to happen.
Yeah.
Okay.
I love that. So, just to put a button on this, Christians, yes, faithfully engage in politics.
Yes.
The question wasn't, can we faithfully engage in politics? The answer to that would be yes, of course. How should we faithfully engage in politics? I think step one is engage.
Well, it is. Engage, vote.
Yes.
Make sure you vote. Know what you're voting for. Educate yourself.
Yes.
On what the issues are and who the candidates are.
Yes.
Contact your representatives.
Yes.
And express your opinion and ask for support of this particular issue.
Whatever idea,
Those three things. And then run for office.
Sure.
What's stopping you?
Yeah.
And there could be some legitimate things stopping me. I'm a single mother with 19 kids, and so I don't know where I'm going to find the time.
Sure.
But run for office. So do those four things, and you're engaged.
And in all of those things, and in all of life, remember the perspective, the sovereignty of God above everything that ever happens in this world, including in politics,
Yes.
including in elections, whatever. Before we even get to the second segment, as we go through this afternoon, this evening, friends, and election results come in and electoral votes are cast to one side or another, keep that in mind.
Do you watch those on TV, or the election results?
I don't anymore.
Yeah, okay.
No.
Okay.
I'll check in on it every once in a while, but it's a rule in my house that it doesn't stay on, and that it doesn't. That
it's a rule
that I don't stay in front of it. It's a rule for myself. To be fair, my wife doesn't want to watch it in the first place. It's a rule. It's completely a self-imposed rule.
I enjoy watching those kinds of things and the debates and so forth.
Sure.
Only so I can know what went on, because it's going to be discussed the next day, and I want to be able to discuss. But
that makes sense.
Okay, this is all.
That's great.
That's enough.
All right, let's jump to our second segment, Jim. Our second segment is always a question that has nothing to do with the first question. It's something that you don't know what's coming, and that's really the gimmick of it. So, Jim, our question for today, I shouldn't say our, it's my question for today.
Good.
It's all me.
It will be ours as soon as you utter it.
What is the weirdest food you have ever tried, and would you eat it again?
Oh, my goodness. I've been in several foreign countries. Could it be the weirdest food I've seen people try and I refuse to?
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I think the weirdest is going to be ballots. Ballots. Do you have any idea what a balut is?
Oh, I do. I don't want to say it.
Philippines. When I was in the Philippines, ballots are fertile chicken eggs, and they have little chicks growing inside, and you don't know if it's an embryonic speck of blood that's in there, or if it's full on beak and feathers.
Yeah.
And I've seen people in the Philippines cut off one end of the egg and just suck the contents into their mouth. And no, I have never tried that.
I could never do that.
Well, I didn't.
No.
I didn't, and I said no. Somebody had to be the first person to see an egg drop out of the back of a chicken and think, maybe I'll eat that.
Yeah.
And somebody had to do that.
Who was the first person desperate enough to
know? I did. Another food. It's not a food. It was a drink. When I was in Rwanda, and I was there at the end of the massacre in 1990.
Yeah.
In Kigali, downtown, the big city there, they have vendors of banana beer. And banana beer just intrigued me.
I was going to say, just on the surface, the name sounds fun.
Oh, yeah. And so I went down.
So what's wrong?
I was with a whole group of people, including a photojournalist and a journalist from a local newspaper here, and a bunch of other people. And we were in a big van, and I was the only one who wanted to go see banana beer. So the driver took us downtown, and we never would have found how to do this. And he bought banana beer, and it smelled so bad.
Oh, man.
It was so putrid to my nose that I didn't put it in my mouth. But some of the other people did and swished it around in their mouth, I guess. Some spit it out, some swallowed it. And so there's another.
Yeah.
No. So ballots and banana beer.
Do you know if banana beer is what it sounds like? Is it a
I have no idea.
Okay.
No, but
something for us to research.
I think, yes, it's made from bananas. I mean, but what else? Hops and I don't know how it's made, but I didn't.
Can you ferment bananas? I guess.
Well, sure. You can. Yeah. Can't you ferment anything?
I don't know.
Well, I didn't mean an old TV set, but
sure.
Something that has grown.
Yeah.
Okay.
I don't know.
So that's
next week's
when
question.
I lived in Hawaii, there was kimchi was really popular. It's Korean pickled cabbage stuff with spices.
I had a student once that was named Kim Chi.
No, you didn't.
I did. I did.
Really?
Yeah.
Where was he from? Vermont?
No,
Norway.
Korea.
No, oh, he was from. Yeah. Okay. All right. Well, I was weird in that I liked kimchi, but I couldn't eat it in front of some of my friends. I have another food that I like. I grew up. I'm primarily Swedish.
I didn't know
I'm
that.
a mix of a bunch of stuff, but I grew up with my grandmother was a full-blooded Swede, and we had smorgasbords. And well, part of that is pickled herring, and pickled herring you can get just the plain or creamed pickled herring. I love that stuff. My wife will not allow me to eat that inside the house because of the way it smells.
Does the aroma intoxicate?
She thinks this is sickening. But I like pickled herring, and I don't get it very often because I just don't think to go buy it because I have to go outside to eat it. And okay, there are 3.
Yeah.
4.
Yeah. I have nothing exotic to add to this list. I am a very picky eater.
Why?
I like what I like. I'll put it this way. I've put this to my wife before because my wife is a very exploratory food connoisseur. She'll try stuff. She often enjoys whatever it is.
Okay.
She likes some stuff that I think is just
really
don't. Gross and weird.
No.
Yeah. For me, let's imagine a scenario. We're going to a restaurant. And they have this full big menu of a bunch of items.
Right.
I am committing my dollars to turn into my sustenance. Mm-hmm. That's what a restaurant offers. I'm going to invest this is such weird language to use for food, but I'm going to invest that money that I'm paying in something I know I'm going to enjoy.
That is the weakest justification I've ever heard.
I don't care.
For being a picky eater.
I don't care. I want to enjoy my meals. I love food.
Well, I get that.
Right?
I get that part.
If I get something that I don't like, it's not only a waste of money, but it's a missed enjoyment.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah, well, I do. But maybe you could venture out and try something. Acquired tastes require the acquiring.
I always try stuff if other people have ordered it and if they allow me, if they offer it.
A bite.
Yeah. I'll always try stuff because it's not, I have my meal as a fallback to still enjoy if I don't like that first bite of whatever they offer.
When I was a kid, my mother used to make cow tongue sandwiches for us.
Sounds horrifying.
Well,
no,
I didn't know what the meat was in the sandwich.
Sure.
And so I would bite that, and I thought, this is really strange. What is this? Well, it's cow tongue, and I looked at it, and you could see the taste buds on it. And no, I don't. No, I don't think so. I don't want that. I can't have cilantro.
Really?
Cilantro. They found this in the what's that? Was it the genes experiment? Where they tracked tracked all the human genes, and 15% of people are. I don't know how to quite say this. 15% of the people have a tendency or have a propensity. I don't like the way I'm doing any of this. 15% of the people who eat cilantro, it tastes like soap.
Huh.
And it's genetic. And I'm in that 15%.
Wow.
I cannot handle cilantro. I can handle it.
Sure.
Yeah. But it's like having my mouth washed out with soap. That was.
Do you? I'm imagining you as a kid saying a bad word and your mom going, "All right, we gotta wash your mouth out with cilantro."
Exactly. Well, now that I'm in. I guess I'm fluent in American Sign Language.
I would say is so.
One of these kids was swearing, and his mother took him in the kitchen and washed his hands out with soap.
That's incredible. Oh, I love that. Maybe that's a good place to end.
This is a good place to end.
Let's wrap this up.
Let's do it.
Thank you for listening, as always, folks. This is a joy to get to do this show. It's such an honor. Jim and I want to invite you to reach out to us. We have an email address.
Please do.
It's brewingwithjim@gmail.com.
Yes.
If you would please reach out to us. It's anything about you, yourself, your story. You can introduce yourself. But I think most central to what we do here is you can submit your own questions, and we see that, and we will answer those questions on the show. So, again, that's brewingwithjim@gmail.com.
Got it.
And with that, I think it's another episode, Jim. Thank you.
Thanks, Joseph.
All righty.
Couldn't do it without you.
Thank you. Yeah. Have a good week, everybody. Bye-bye.
Bye.
The topics that are covered and the answers that are offered during episodes of Brewing with Jim are designed to mine the wisdom attained from a life of pastoral ministry and care. They do not constitute professional or clinical training or expertise in the areas of counseling or mental health. CVCS and its podcast network want to provide a platform for the discipleship of our community. Brewing with Jim is our attempt to foster that environment in a format that is accessible for everyone to participate in. The views, thoughts, and opinions expressed during the show are the speaker's own, and they may or may not represent the views, thoughts, or opinions of Capistrano Valley Christian Schools or its faculty. The material and information presented here is for general information purposes only. This episode has been a production of the Capistrano Valley Christian Schools Podcast Network. Capistrano Valley Christian Schools is a Christian JK-12 school in San Juan Capistrano, California. Be sure to check out, subscribe to, and leave a review of this show and the other shows on our network on your podcast player of choice. Doing so supports the school community in a multitude of ways. For more information about the CVCS Podcast Network or any of our other shows, check out cvcs.org or email podcasts@cvcs.org. On behalf of the whole network, this is Mr. Jasper saying thank you again for listening, and stay tuned for more.